Okay, welcome everyone again to our staff. Another leadership culture thing I want to talk about this morning. This one I've entitled New Life Leaders. I think any leaders of any organisation or church defend culture with their lives. So everyone just remember that. We defend culture with our lives. So, and I think if we don't have this attitude, other cultures drift in. Or we'll let other cultures creep up and we won't be aware. So the fact that if you've got this protection mentality, if you've got a sense, that our protective instincts. You ever seen the movie about the linebacker with Sandra Bullock in it, and then the guy that actually went on to become a great champion had 98% protective instincts. On the blind side, and all they had to do was awaken that, and all of a sudden he became the best. Well, we have to have a great sense of protective instincts when we're talking culture and vision and leadership. If we don't, it actually potentially destroys a church and the leadership team. So leaders have to really understand this. This will be one of my most important leadership messages that you'll ever hear. Leaders, just that one thought, if you just never forget anything else, leaders defend the culture with their lives. So in other words, it's up to you. You are the barrier, you are the backstop, you are the last line of defense. Because if it goes through you, it goes through. If the leaders can't defend the culture, no one will defend the culture. So just a couple of stories here to help us. So there's a story of Mark chapter 5. Now Jesus had a particular culture, didn't he? Light, life, miracles. He never let other things get involved with his culture. Even his key team, when they one day tried to say, Jesus, I don't think that's what should be happening, he says, get behind me, Satan. So he defended the kingdom culture with his life. And he said, there's no way I'm going to let anyone talk me out of or into some other vision that they've got. A lot of leadership is managing agendas. That's all we do. Everyone's got an agenda. And we have to manage the agenda in light of our culture, our calling, and what God's given us to do and protect and defend. And so if the leaders don't do it, who does it? That's my point. So Mark chapter 5, while Jesus was saying this, so I know this is a story of raising Jairus' daughter from the dead. Some messengers came to Jairus' house and told him, your daughter has died. Why bother the teacher any longer? Jesus paid no attention to what they said. So that's a key point right there. Someone comes and says to us, Pastor so-and-so, Pastor Sean, Pastor Tuppy, Pastor Joel, Pastor Tanya, Pastor Gary, one of our names goes, hey, I don't think we should worry about that anymore. Something's happened, we can't do it. Pay no attention. We actually are on what we are on about. And so sometimes we've got to know when to switch our attention off and switch our attention on. Jesus paid no attention to the news that wasn't what he was about. And he actually said, don't be afraid, only believe. Back into the faith story. But language is very important. So again, culture is what we allow and what we disallow. Here, Jesus clearly disallowed bad language, bad confession, and then he used the right language to straighten everybody up again. Then he did not let anyone else go on with him except for Peter, James, and John. So now he's controlled the environment. He's like, I'm not bringing anyone with me that ain't part of my faith team. So we're about to do an incredible miracle, raise people from the dead. I can't afford negativity. I can't afford doubt. I can't afford unbelief. I'm just going to get my best three. I'm going to get them around me because I know that they're going to carry my heart. They're going to carry my culture. They're going to defend it with their lives. They're not going to be up against what we're about to do. But others, I don't know. So I'm going to completely control the environment because we're about to stay and do what God's called us to do. So again, he did not allow. So he did not listen. He did not pay attention. So all these are key thoughts for how we control an environment. They arrived at Jairus' house, and when Jesus saw the confusion and heard all the loud cries wailing, he went in and said to them, "Why all this confusion? Why are you crying? The child is not dead, she's only sleeping." They started making fun of him, but the crowd is actually going to be yelling and jeering, and there's going to be a lot of people at different times that are going to be against what we feel God's put on our heart to do and defend. And but Jesus says, you're all confused. Jesus stayed focused. They started making fun, and so he put them all out. You got to put all that stuff out. Anyone that starts to again attack our culture, our heart, our message, our vision, our convictions, put it out. Yeah. And then again, back in control of his environment. He took the child's father and mother and the 3 disciples, and he went into the room where the child was laying. He took her by the hand and he said, "Talitha koum," which means, "Little girl, I tell you, arise," or get up. And so again, you can see here what Jesus did. He defended a faith culture with his life. And he had to address the crowd. He had to address the disciples. He had to address the negativity. He had to address the confusion. There's going to be a lot of voices, and there's going to be a lot of momentum against some of the things that we stand for as leaders. So we control the environment. We put out the negativity and we keep the faith. Love covers. So it says in 1 Peter 4:8, above all, love each other deeply because love covers a multitude of sins. Leaders need to cover each other. And so that we protect one another. And so, again, if we ever hear an accusation against any of my key team, I instantly dismiss it. I might then go and ask them privately, "Hey, I've got someone said this, tell me about that," right? But if I go, "Oh, really? Tell me more. Wow, no way." All of a sudden, what am I doing? I'm opening up myself to a story that may not be true. So love covers and defends. The Bible says don't even entertain an accusation unless there's 2 or 3 witnesses against an elder. Yeah. Why do we do that? Someone tells one story once about somebody who's in leadership, that's it, we say that's it, it's all over, love covers. Love covers. So protecting each other. So one of the greatest things that's under threat is vision. Yeah. All right, so people are going to come and say, "Pastor, I think we should open a women's shelter for abused women." Well, I think that's a fantastic thing. But if that's not our vision, that's their vision, back to managing agendas again. And we just need to say, that's a great idea, but you know what? Maybe you should do that. Because we think that's a godly thing, but that God hasn't put that on our heart. That would be something our elders would talk about and we'd make together at a high-level leadership decision, because that's a major commitment and we wouldn't want to start something we can't finish. So that's a major calling that we'd have to lead out a conviction with. But I think you've got that conviction, doesn't mean you should have to impart it onto us. Yeah. But we're actually pretty clear about our vision. We're planting churches, we're in the mission field, we're a life-giving church, so we know what we're on about. Again, someone says to me the other day that the wrong language. They said, we've got to put on a light show apparently at New Life because the city church does, or whatever, And you know what? Straight away, I would have defended that with my life. I would have said, hang on, what's the first word of our vision statement? Contemporary, right? We're not putting on a light show in a location because the city church does it. We've said we're a contemporary church. And you know what? You may not like it, you may not need it, but your grandkids are going to love it. The day we stop reaching the generation below us is the day we start to die. What did I just do? I straightened them up with vision. I defended the culture with my life. I did not allow a wrong narrative to continue. And I hopefully retrained them to think this is what they say. And I gave them a compelling why we do what we do. With vision and culture. Again, somehow, you know what? And this never ceases. We're always under attack for our culture. We always have to defend it, right? So again, another example would be, something happened and this is one thing I don't want our team to use. Don't use the terminology, well, Pastor Craig wouldn't like that. No. We wouldn't like that. You and me. We are you. Right? We are one. Sure. And so if we are a leadership, then we need to own it, just like if the senior pastor would you think he would not do that? You need to not do that, and then you need to own that and use the terminology we. Yeah. The day that you actually start using my name, you start creating division in the church, because you're really saying, and you're making me the bad guy, yeah, and you the good guy. Yeah. That is not defending culture with your life. Right. So start to say, hey, that's not how we do it at New Life, you know. And then again, if someone has a problem with the pastor, don't go, really? Is that really? You say, no, hey, go see him. If you've got a problem with him, go see him. I was an assistant pastor once, and I defended my senior pastor with my life. I never entertained an accusation ever. I'd say, Pastor, you know, Ron Anning was my pastor time. He's very approachable, and if you've got a problem, go and see him. Practice Matthew 18. Don't tell me, go see him. I'll go with you if you want. I'll come with you. Let's go see him together, but don't come around spreading stories like that. You need to go see him, or you need to cease this negative talk that you've got, because this is toxic. It's not good for you. It's going to destroy you. It's going to destroy the church. It's going to destroy your family. We need to stop it. Yeah. That is an example of defending culture with your life. Yeah. So start to use the term we. That's not how we do it at New Life. Well, that decision's already made. You know, and again, who made the decision? The leadership. Right? Again, just use leadership. And if anyone's got a problem, the staff executive. Come and see them. Write to them. So again, let's not say, Pastor Sean said that, therefore, no, I'm going to say, if Pastor Sean made that decision, I'd make that decision. I'd back Pastor Sean. Yeah. If he made that decision, there would be a great reason why he made that, and I'm actually with Pastor Sean on that one. That's what we need to say publicly to people when there's an issue going on. You know, and then privately we go to Sean and say, what happened there? You know, and then Pastor Sean, him and I will unite, and then we'll go back and we're on the same page, but we defend culture and each other with our lives. This is so important. I'm only halfway through my message and I've got 30 seconds left. This one's going to be a little longer, all right. So, defending culture is about, we could do part 2 next week. All right. So, this is so important, right? Because this is what knits us together. So think about culture is, we've got to defend the culture with our lives. Let's defend the language of the church with our lives. Let's defend each other with our lives. Let's never entertain an accusation against a brother or sister in leadership. Let's be people that say, well, if that's what they did, that would be totally out of culture, because I know them really well and I would be surprised if that was the thing that happened. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go check with them and I'll come back and I'll talk to you. But don't go, oh, wow, really, you know, like again, our first impression and instinct is defense. Together. One. Right? And that's what I mean when I say defending culture. We defend the culture of the name, the vision, the style, the activity, and the each other. This has to be done with our lives. The day we start to break out from this is the day we need to go and find a church somewhere else to be a part of, because you no longer represent New Life Church, maybe it's time to go. Maybe it's time to, and look, there's a time, sometimes when frustration builds up and we're leading out of frustration, it is a time to go, it's time to go. You know, and we'll bless you and help you. But we've got to be able to actually understand this, and we've got to be able to do this really, really well. All right, so God bless you. Have a great day. This will protect you, protect the church, protect the kingdom, and it'll be onwards and upwards from here. Have a great day.